welcome to Movie Review Mom. I'm the mom and I do the movie reviews. And today, the movie I'm reviewing is called Purple Hearts. This romantic drama was released on Netflix just a few days ago. So I know I tried to post my YouTube video movie reviews before the movies come out. I've actually been sick. And so, if you're ever wondering what I think of a particular movie or advice that I have for you, go over to my website, moviereviewmom.com, and you can see my written reviews there long before I get the videos out. Often it takes just a little bit longer. Anyway, thanks for your patience. So finally it's out. Now, this Purple Hearts movie is not related to the 1984 movie that's also called Purple Hearts, just in case you're that old and were wondering. Now, the movie didn't come out in theaters, and so it doesn't have an MPAA rating, but the Netflix rating is TV 14. And I would say that's probably about right. The movie is 2 hours and 2 minutes long, and my movie review mom grade is, drum roll, a B. Now, don't go yet. Let me explain why I gave it a B. So I'll give you an overview in a nutshell, and then I'll point out things I liked and didn't like, as well as offer tips for parents, themes worth talking about, interesting lines, funny lines, if there are any, and recommendations for other movies that I think that you'll like as much or maybe even more than this one. All right, so let's get started. In a nutshell, in spite of their many differences, Cassie, a struggling singer-songwriter, and Luke, a troubled Marine, agreed to marry solely for military benefits. But when tragedy strikes, the line between real and pretend begins to blur. Cha-cha-cha. The romantic drama was directed by Elizabeth Allen Rosenbaum and written by Kyle Jarrow and Liz W. Garcia. So the list of things that I like is, first of all, the fact that one of my sons is currently an officer in the military. And so I'm always really interested in seeing how soldiers and even their policies are portrayed in movies. I think if he watched this, he would probably roll his eyes. Maybe. I don't know. I'll have to ask him. The first time I ever saw cute British actor Nicholas Galitzine was in the Amazon Prime remake of Cinderella last year. Did you see that one? It's a musical, and he has a really great singing voice. So I was disappointed that we didn't get to hear him sing in this one, especially because the love interest in this movie sings. And I thought that would be cute if they had a duet or something at the end, but no. So if you're waiting for him to sing, you're going to be disappointed. But congratulations to him for landing a leading role next to Uma Thurman in another upcoming Netflix series called Chambers. So this is Sofia Carson's second Netflix movie after Feel the Beat 2 years ago. She seems to be a Netflix darling. They really like her, and she's a lovely singer in real life. And so I really enjoyed hearing her sing, although I couldn't quite understand most of her words because of her breathy voice. And some people don't like her voice. I don't have a very pretty voice at all for singing. And so, anything is an improvement, and I admire other voices. And that didn't come out right. She has a pretty voice. That's what I'm trying to say. I just couldn't understand what she was saying. Anyway, she wrote and produced the songs in the movie, as well as worked as one of the executive producers of the film. So congratulations to her. I used to live in beautiful Carlsbad, California, which is right next door to Oceanside, which is the location featured in this movie. So it was kind of fun to see, where they were driving around and that kind of stuff. There are plenty of interesting topics that are covered. It's not just the romance, and I appreciated that. So there were a few things that I didn't like or thought could have been done better. First of all, the movie is very predictable. Sophia's character, Cassie, never acted very grateful to Luke for the huge sacrifices that he was making in order to provide her with illegal health benefits. He was risking his entire military career, yet she constantly whined and complained about everything. And I was like, how about a little gratitude every now and then? And I just didn't see it. He literally was risking his life at war while she was self-absorbed with her singing career, which didn't hardly seem like an equal risk. Do you know what I mean? And that just, again, kind of bugged me. Other than her great looks and talent, I didn't see what Luke actually saw in her cranky, self absorbed personality. I also really didn't like her mean feminist character that loved to throw her angry morality at anyone who would listen. Now, there's nothing wrong with being a feminist. I'm all for women's rights too. I am one. Or I just play one on TV. No, I am a woman. But why do feminists think that they have to hate men and put men down in order to elevate themselves? And that's where she kind of lost me. I just didn't really like her. She just was so angry and mean and had this entitled attitude. And I was just like, oh. Anyway, the political rants from both sides became tiresome, especially because many people love to watch movies so that they can escape from all of the drama and the world and the problems, right? There's also a lot of inflammatory language like fake news, bro militia, libtard, and she calls them commando, which he hates. They're just politically charged words that add to some of the cringy dialogue. We hear some of the songs repeated. And while they're lovely the first time, I thought that it made the movie unnecessarily longer than it needed to be, really. And that time could have been better spent showing us other things that prove to us that the leading couple actually loved each other at a deeper level. Act 3 ultimately felt super rushed. Something happens and she could have easily stood up for him, and she didn't. She just let him totally take the brunt of stuff. I don't want to give you all the details. I don't want to give you spoilers, but that was another opportunity where she could have shown that she actually cared about him. Anyway, so that kind of drove me nuts too. Anyway, there are quite a few military inaccuracies. And sadly, I just didn't overall feel any chemistry between these two leads. And that's terrible considering this is a romance. I watched an interview with both of the actors in real life, and they seemed to not really even like each other. And I think that that kind of came off in the movie as well. So that's just a shame. Okay, let me give you some tips for parents. Kids might be bored. I mean, this is a romance kind of a thing. There's talk of death, alcohol, drugs, some profanity, talk of war as soldiers are seen preparing to deploy to the Middle East. And then we also see some soldiers on a military base abroad. So the themes that are illustrated very well in the movie are sacrifice, health, dreams, love, second chances after making some mistakes, family responsibilities, duty to family, but duty to country, duty to your fellow man, military service to the country, friendship, hope, and even diabetes. All right. So I write down funny lines and interesting lines and share them with you just to give you a taste of the movies. But I didn't write any funny lines down this time. There is some humor, but it's not enough and nothing really that was noteworthy for writing down. But I'll share some interesting lines with you. And you can see all of them at moviereviewmom.com. So Luke, again, who's played by Nicholas Galitzine, said, I'm doing it for me to serve my country and be a better man. And he says this after she's throwing it in his face that he's just being in the military, to get benefits or whatever, and he was like, he agrees maybe initially, but now he really wants to be there and do it. And he loves it. Just like my son loves being in the military and serving his fellow man. And in fact, his all-time favorite scripture is, greater love hath no man than to lay down his life for his fellow man. I think I botched that up. But anyway, and then another line that he says is talking to her as she's spewing her angry feminism at him. He says to her, you can let a guy help you and still be a feminist. Right. And that was kind of my point. You can be feminine and you can honor men and their manhood and still be a feminist. Anyway, that kind of stuff just drives me nuts. Okay, so before I go, let me give you two recommendations for films that are sort of similar that I instantly thought of. The first one is a fairly recent movie called A Journal for Jordan. So it features a military man and he's coming and going and trying to navigate this relationship and I don't want to give you any more spoilers than that, but it's very sweet and touching. And then another one that I just thought of is The Last Full Measure. I think partly because you do get a little taste, a sense of the respect and the love of brotherhood that the military actually evokes when you see these types of movies. And so this lead character, the soldier, he loves his fellow soldiers. They're brothers to him, not just friends. And you see a couple of scenes at the cemetery, and just that respect and that reverence for those who are willing to lay down their lives for their fellow men. Okay, so, and by the way, that one, The Last Full Measure, is it based on a true story? So I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much for hanging out for a few minutes while we talk about this movie. Okay, I know I was doing all the talking. But thank you so much for your support, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.